Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. The real reason Katie's afraid to reunite with Bill, another Brooke betrayal. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that Katie Logan, Heather Tom, still cares about Bill Spencer, Don Diamond, and always will, but giving him her heart again isn't something she takes lightly. Bill recently made his feelings clear and pushed for another chance at a future with Katie, but she didn't jump at a romantic reunion opportunity. Instead, Katie put the focus on Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, being back in Los Angeles and just enjoying this family time with him. Katie suggested she didn't want anything to ruin that, but she's not being totally honest. Of course, Bill is leaving a few things unsaid as well, but he'll work to change that during the week of September 30, October 4. That's when Bill will let his vulnerable side come through as he opens up to Katie about what he truly feels. Bill may pour his heart out and insist his life hasn't been complete without Katie by his side. Although Bill tried to convince himself he found something magical with Poppy Nozawa, Romy Park, it could never compete with the deep love he shared with Katie. Bill will let his walls down and hope that Katie can see that he's a changed man. We'll see a new Bill who's totally devoted to Katie and ready to begin their next chapter together. However, Katie won't be prepared to go all in with Bill, at least not yet. In the aftermath of Bill's honesty hour, it looks like Katie will give Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, updates and make an admission. Katie will confess the real reason she's scared to go all in with Bill. This may be partly about Will if Katie's worried about what another reunion and breakup would do to him. If Bill lets Katie down again, he'll also be letting down Will. Katie may fear that if Bill blows up their family once more, the damage will be irreparable. Perhaps Katie will be hesitant to reunite, since it could mean Bill and Will's father-son bond will be destroyed forever. On the other hand, Katie's reason for fighting this reunion may be more personal. Despite Bill's claims that Katie is the only woman for him, she may be haunted by his past with Brooke. Bill has betrayed Katie with Brooke before, so how can she trust that it won't keep happening? That's especially true now that Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, is back in town and could steal Ridge Forrester's Thorsten K. attention away from Brooke. Katie may still be concerned about the possibility of Brooke and Bill surrendering to temptation. The idea of destroying her sibling relationship with Brooke and getting cheated on by Bill may be too overwhelming for Katie to risk. Regardless, the bold and the beautiful spoilers say Brooke will get to the bottom of things in the October 4 episode, so we'll bring you more predictions on Katie's side of the story and the news she'll divulge. Katie Logan's heart raced as she stood in the Forrester Creations office, staring out the window at the sprawling city below. A gentle breeze rustled the curtains, but the unease gnawing at her was far from gentle. Bill Spencer, the man she loved more than she ever thought possible, had once again proposed they rekindle their relationship. And yet here she was, frozen in place, unable to move forward with the man she couldn't live without. Katie had tried so hard to convince herself that this time would be different, that Bill had changed, that the infidelities, lies, and betrayals that had defined their tumultuous relationship were a thing of the past. But deep down, there was one haunting thought she couldn't shake, the specter of Brooke Logan. Brooke, Katie's older sister and Bill's former lover, was always a shadow hanging over her. Time and time again, Katie had seen Brooke and Bill's undeniable chemistry light up, like a flame threatening to reignite. Despite their promises, despite their apologies, Katie couldn't help but wonder if it was only a matter of time before history repeated itself. Katie sank into the plush chair by her desk, sighing heavily. She glanced at the framed photo of Will, her son with Bill, and felt a pang of guilt. For Will's sake, she wanted to believe in the idea of a family, of a stable home life with his father and mother together. But she knew that jumping back into Bill's arms came with a risk, one that could shatter her son's world. Yet, it wasn't just about Will. Katie had her own emotional scars to tend to. She'd been through the ringer with Bill, and each time, it seemed to come back to one person: Brooke. The memory of Bill and Brooke's betrayal years ago still stung like it had happened yesterday. Katie had forgiven them, at least outwardly, but the pain lingered in the depths of her heart, festering like a wound that refused to heal. Just as Katie was lost in thought, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Bill. "Meet me at Il Giardino tonight. I'll wait as long as it takes. Please, Katie, let's talk." Katie bit her lip, reading the message over and over. Bill had a way of getting under her skin, of making her question her own decisions. She had no doubt that he loved her, but his track record with loyalty was far from perfect. Could she trust him again? Could she trust Brooke again? Katie's mind drifted to her sister, Brooke Logan, the perennial femme fatale of the Forrester and Spencer families. Brooke's beauty and charm were undeniable, but so was her history of relationships with powerful men, men who often belonged to other women. Katie had been burned before, and it wasn't just with Bill. Brooke had been involved with nearly every man in Katie's life who mattered: Ridge, Thorne, and even Deacon at one point. The idea of Brooke's presence always lingered in the back of Katie's mind, a constant source of insecurity that had never fully gone away. But the tension between Katie and Brooke wasn't just about men. It was about trust, sisterhood, and loyalty, values Katie held close but felt Brooke often disregarded. Brooke had her own moral compass, one that seemed to spin in whichever direction the wind blew. And now, as rumors of another Brooke betrayal swirled in Katie's head, the seeds of doubt began to take root once again. Katie had overheard whispers in the Forrester halls, whispers that Brooke and Bill had recently shared a private moment. While no one had seen anything explicitly inappropriate, the history between the two made it impossible for Katie to ignore the possibility that Brooke might betray her again. She knew Brooke would never admit it, but sometimes it seemed like her sister thrived on the attention of the men Katie loved. Katie clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. What if she was right? What if Bill, despite all his promises, had been drawn back into Brooke's orbit? The thought alone was enough to paralyze her with fear. She knew she couldn't confront Brooke without proof, but her instincts were screaming at her to stay on guard. Brooke had a knack for slipping into situations she had no business being in, and Bill? Well, Bill was a man who loved the thrill of danger, the allure of something forbidden. Katie hated that she still felt like she was competing with her sister for the affections of the same man. That evening, as Katie approached Il Giardino, her heart was in turmoil. She spotted Bill seated at their usual table, looking every bit the suave, confident mogul who had swept her off her feet all those years ago. His eyes lit up when he saw her, and for a brief moment, Katie felt a rush of warmth. "Thanks for coming," Bill said, standing to greet her. His voice was soft, almost pleading. Katie sat down, her mind still swirling with doubts. "Bill," she began cautiously, "I need to know something before we go any further, and I need you to be completely honest with me." Bill's expression shifted, concern etched into his features. "Of course, Katie, ask me anything." She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the answer. "Have you been spending time with Brooke? More than you've let on?" Bill's eyes widened, clearly taken aback. "Katie, you know Brooke and I are over. I'm committed to you and only you. Yes, we've crossed paths a few times, but it was nothing more than friendly, business even." Katie searched his face, looking for any sign of deception. Bill had always been a master at spinning the truth, but this time she desperately wanted to believe him. Still, the fear gnawed at her. "I just can't shake the feeling, Bill. You and Brooke, there's always been something there. How am I supposed to trust that this time will be different?" Bill reached across the table, taking her hand in his. His touch was warm, but it couldn't erase the cold knot of anxiety in her chest. I understand why you're scared, Katie, but I love you. I've always loved you. And Brooke, whatever we had, it's over. You are the only woman I want. Katie's heart wavered, torn between the desire to believe him and the nagging suspicion that Brooke's betrayal might be lurking just around the corner once again. Could she really risk her heart on Bill, knowing that Brooke might always be a temptation? As the evening wore on, Katie knew she had to make a choice. But the real question wasn't just whether she could trust Bill, it was whether she could trust Brooke, and that, more than anything, was what terrified her.